superphosphate, and we can and get away with it a bit. But there are two reasons why in the end we can't keep on. The first is that all of that carries its own pollutants. The two very common ones are cadmium and uranium. So as you add superphosphate annually, so cadmium uptake increases in your plants to the point where many market gardens who are inorganic, the cadmium in it is way beyond health levels, and that goes for most of the vegetables you're buying. The cadmium levels are way beyond that, and that is a deadly poison, and it's an extraordinarily painful death. It's a screaming death. So constant application of superphosphate to food systems will kill you in the long run. The second about the uranium, it is radioactive, and it builds up annually and remains in your soils, and it's another poisonous material. So although the benefits of phosphate are high on phosphate-lacking soils, the benefits of annual applications are zero. It actually becomes extremely detrimental. Now, most of American and modern Australian and European agriculture has reached those levels of pollution because there's no clean phosphate sources. There's no sources of phosphate which are just phosphate. It's always accompanied by... But the other thing that happens is phosphate blocks zinc uptake in plants and animals. Now, zinc at first may sound pretty slight to you. Look at zinc closely. Zinc is the coenzyme for almost all your food processing systems. So you can eat your head off, but you can't absorb your food without zinc. The other effect you might notice is wound healing slow or none, and sexual development is not. You don't develop testes, ovaries, penises, all that. So zinc is very important to the expression of sexuality, to the digestion of food, the absorption of your amino acids. It's a coenzyme with most of our enzymatic processes in our bodies. 25 milligrams. And you're lucky to get 8 milligrams a day from crops grown on superphosphate. So at the same time that superphosphate's adding cadmium, it's decreasing zinc. And the other thing it will do eventually is cause elevated copper levels in your blood. So if you have ultra-high copper levels, you're copper poisoned. It's because you're taking up that double plus ion in the absence of zinc. So it's indication much of the world's population now has high blood copper levels. It's particularly high in public servants for an interesting reason. They drink a lot of coffee out of these copper heated vessels. So fortunately there's an awful lot of public servants poison themselves sitting there drinking, out of these urns that keep on boiling. There's very high copper levels. The other place you expect to find copper levels high at sublethal levels is in desert populations where zinc uptake's blocked by the high alkalinity. So there's another problem, two problems for you. The fact that a lot of our vegetables are poisoned with cadmium is on the secret list. It's totally suppressed in Australia and Britain by a government D notice. Because effectively, there's very little food left that is safe to eat. So the reason why you don't want anybody to know is, if they die quietly of something, that's okay. If everybody starts to reject the food because it's cadmium poison, that's a disaster. Because who supported and actually, in America, for instance, pays 80-something billion a year towards the cost of those things? Your government. Yeah. The direct and indirect subsidies for agriculture, and particularly for artificials, is worldwide through governments. Because it's logical, because who in the hell pays for governments to get elected? And as you know, well, it was on the news yesterday and today, it costs you $70 million to get somebody in now, in the Republican Party at least, and $30 million to get someone in the other side. But nobody's paying the other side anymore much. But a lot of people are paying the Republican Party, and who you pay works for you.